Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got a fantastic guest for us today to talk about Mastermind, building unbreakable teams, creating impact. Jake Isaacs from Kansas City, Missouri. He's got a fantastic story, and I'm really happy to have him on to talk about these areas where influencers, leaders can create masterminds, communities, and make more impact. Jake, welcome.
Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate it, sir.
Yeah. And briefly introduce yourself and we will dive into the questions.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Jake Isaacs. My fun title is I'm a serial integrator, which I know that you've had a couple of EOS implementers on your show in the past. So integrator is a number 2 or a chief operations officer inside a business. And I've just made a career of bouncing around and helping a lot of people create order out of chaos and develop systems of profitability inside of their businesses.
Yeah. And I love diving into the questions is what sort of people do you help or what community do you attract to come and work with you? Is it executives, professionals, entrepreneurs? Is it social media influencers?
Yeah, Gathering the Kings is an entrepreneurial mastermind, and we specialize. We're industry agnostic. Oh my goodness, industry. Christopher, I just totally lost the word. That
Agnostic.
is so embarrassing. Agnostic. Thank you so much. I appreciate the assist there. Where we just have people from all different types of industries, all backgrounds, all walks of life that are part of the Gathering the Kings community. And what makes us a little bit different than other masterminds out there is we really hold true and fast to Napoleon Hill's definition of a mastermind as he wrote it in Think and Grow Rich. And that definition is where 2 or more minds come together unto the chief aim of something, there is harmony. And the thing about our mastermind is our members are incredible. This isn't a group coaching program. People don't sign up to get close to Jake or learn from Jake. They are here to serve one another and learn from each other.
Yeah. Interesting. And so my first question for you is for a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, we're all about success and we go about our day. We want to be productive, get a good start. But you often say that productivity isn't about doing more, it's about clarity. What do you mean for those who feel overwhelmed?
Yeah, great question. I think that part of this grind hustle culture that we have perpetuated is that you have to sleep less, do more, fill your calendar. And really, it's all about intentionality. Productivity is about being intentional and understanding what actually moves the needle inside of your business and inside of your life. And you can get very clear and very specific about what those needle moving activities are. All of the rest of it just falls away to the side.
A common thing that I hear from, especially I hang out with my friends and they're like, yeah, I'm very clear. I'm just focusing on this one thing. And then a fear that I hear from them is, oh, there's, for example, when Clubhouse hit the scene, oh, there's Clubhouse, oh, there's Twitter, now there's Reels and Shorts and all this in this, the newsletters. And then they feel like they're missing out or they feel like, how do you encourage entrepreneurs to stick to their guns and avoid the noise?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm going to attack it a little bit from a marketing lens. There's a lot of different things that you can do from a marketing perspective in your business to A/B test things that work well. But you have to have a clear understanding and picture of what that clientele is that you're serving, who your avatar is, and where do they shop, and how do they interact with social media, and what things are they interested in. And if you can show up in those arenas and speak to them directly there, the rest of it doesn't matter, right? For example, our avatar, through years of understanding and refining, our avatar is not on LinkedIn. And so that's not a big focus of my business partner or I's marketing campaign. We have LinkedIn profiles and we show up there, but that's not where we're making daily content, because what we found is our business owners don't live in LinkedIn. And so that's not something that we want to spend our time with, because that doesn't move the needle for us.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like you have to create and see where everything is and where your community, where your tribe lives. So talking about community is that you talk about community is the greatest asset an entrepreneur can have. Talk about the benefits of building a community.
Yeah. One of the things that Gino Wickman, the founder of EOS, talked about is that every business owner, regardless of what the widget is, they need an operating system, they need a coach, and they need a community. And those are the three pillars that the EOS system is built on for success inside of a business owner. And so what we do is we try to fill that space of community. You need like-minded people that understand the struggles that you're going through as a business owner. Because let's be honest, Chris, as you were building your business, there were times where it was really lonely, right? Those moments where you're up at 2 a.m. with your hands in your head in your hands, just wondering how you were going to float payroll next week. And that's a stress that most people don't understand in your day-to-day life. And you can't talk about it with most normal people. Inside of Gathering the Kings, we call it the weight of the crown. That responsibility is heavy, and very few people understand what that weight really is.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, and even for example, because I know the power of community, especially if you are a influencer or you're a public speaker, that's your tribe and people, you have loyal supporters. And how do you address, because a lot of people listening, they still have 9 to 5, they're W-2s, and they're like, I don't need a personal brand or I don't need a community. How do you address those concerns?
Yeah. In 2025, everyone has a personal brand, whether you want to or not. And recognizing that and leaning into it sooner rather than later will help you move forward. Now, as far as a community is concerned, everybody needs people that they can count on, right? And sure, as an influencer or as a guru, you need people to follow you. But that's not what I'm talking about when I talk about community. I'm talking about people that you can live life with, people that are there through the ups and through the downs, that you can have conversations with, that have real substantive value about what's happening inside of your life, what's happening inside of your faith, what's happening inside of your business.
Yeah. The moving the conversation forward is the other misconception is a lot of business owners, they're like, more revenue, more revenue. We want to scale this, more revenue. They think it'll solves everything. We talked about another guest talked about cash flow problems. And you say that scaling chaos creates bigger problems. And where do you see most entrepreneurs go wrong operationally?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's really this interesting timeline of events that happen as you're starting a business. You need to create a mess in order to apply some systems to it. And you're not going to grow past the mess unless you have systems that you can rely on. And so the first thing is activity. You've got to go out and do something. You've got to have some data points that you can work through about what's working, what's not working, who your avatar is, who your avatar isn't, what marketing message hits, what doesn't. And once you start having some of these understandings, then you can start putting systems and processes in place to how you duplicate yourself. Because really, that's what developing a system inside of your business or creating SOPs is. It's duplicating your standard way of doing things when you're not there. So you can grow that team, you can hire those employees, and you can hold a minimum standard of what you expect in your product or your service.
Interesting. And so in your mastermind community, talk about what your meetups, your events, your successes, and talk about the engagement that you've created through your brand.
Yeah. One of the things about Gathering the Kings that is maybe a little bit unique is we're not all about the revenue. We're not all about the dollars. We want to help you grow and scale your business because that's how you're able to accomplish and create impact, not only on your family, but your community and the lives of the people that have entrusted you with their jobs. And so it's important that we grow businesses, but it's more important that we show up and we're excellent husbands or fantastic wives, that we're present parents. And those are the things that we talk about inside of our community. How can we holistically not only create great businesses, but create great humans that are making a real impact on this world? And so we have monthly calls that focus on marriage. We have monthly calls that focus on physical and mental health. We have weekly calls that go into some tactical business strategies that can help people grow. And importantly, we have a round table monthly call where people can work with each other and strategize to help grow their businesses and move forward, to wrestle real hard, difficult questions that they're working on.
Interesting. Another question I have for you is, yeah, after working across different industries over the last 2 decades, what are some universal operational lessons that apply no matter what business someone is in?
Yeah. I don't care what business or what service you're in, everyone's in the people business, right? And so understanding how people are wired and what motivates people, not only your customers, but also your employees, is going to be extremely important. A lot of times, what I see is entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs because they're just arrogant enough to believe that they can do it a little bit different than someone else, or that they have a better way of doing it. And they get started on their own. And that entrepreneurial spirit is what's helped create America to be as great as it is. It's incredible. But it also doesn't allow us to slow down sometimes and recognize that we need the people around us in order to really sustain a business that's going to have impact and last legacy.
Interesting. The other thing that I've noticed talking to you is, especially with your gathering the kings and talking about marriage and husband wives and community. So you talk about faith being a foundation for leadership, especially in today's times. How has your faith shaped your leadership approach, and what can people listening to this take moving forwards?
Yeah, there's two types of faith, Chris. There's faith in yourself, there's belief in yourself, and then there's faith in a higher being and a God type deity. And so I'm Christian, that's what shapes my belief system. But more importantly than that is I have faith in myself. I have the belief that no matter what the situation is, I'm going to be able to figure out what the solution is. And a lot of times, what we find is people don't have self confidence. They don't have belief that they can figure it out. They don't have that grit and the tenacity to be able to move forward on something when they get stuck. And so, faith is a key foundational part of being able to move forward. You've got to build faith in yourself. And for me personally, faith in myself is built by an understanding of faith in my God.
Interesting. I was gonna the other question I have for you is raising. You have this. I love how you're paying things forward, and you're talking about raising the next generation of entrepreneurs. I tell my offspring to avoid jobs and start a business or start a
Sure.
company. How do you raise the next generation of entrepreneurs, and what kids aren't learning in school?
Yeah. It's about being intentional, right? Our educational system, wrong or indifferent, was set up to help people go to work. And that's the end product. That's what they're trying to create. They're trying to create really great employees. And for the most part, that's what it's done. But critical thinking, leadership principles, entrepreneurship math, like just basic things that are needed to be successful are not taught inside of our educational system, our formal educational system now. And so what we've done inside of Gathering the Kings is we've recognized this gap in our formal education system, and we've created a program that we call Generation Next. And it's for students 6 to 18 who just want to learn more about what it takes to be a business owner, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. How can we take the concept of your neighborhood lemonade stand and like actually apply business principles to it that can help make it successful?
Interesting. Yeah, and I think I was starting. I think over 90% of people are sick and tired of their jobs or the bosses, and there's a lot of people that just a lot of people are starting their businesses, but a lot of people are just like stuck. They can't get out, and they hate what they're doing and just miserable. If people wanted to connect with you, see what your mastermind is about, learn from you, how can they do that?
Yeah. All the information about the mastermind can be found at gatheringthekings.com. I'm active on Facebook. And so I can be found at Jake Isaacs on Facebook. My business partner's name is Chaz Wolf. He can be found at Chaz Wolf on Facebook. And that's the best way to connect with us personally. We don't have a VA or a publicist team that's running our social media accounts. It's really us that's interacting with clients or people that ask questions.
Yeah, excellent. I really enjoyed this conversation and really powerful, impactful, and keep up the great work.
Christopher, I appreciate what you're doing, man. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here.